League of Legends. You've heard about it, you've seen it, and you've also probably made fun of it. But what if you were thinking about playing, or just wanted to be able to watch League content while having some semblance of an idea as to what's going on?
Tries to clean it up for Ryu. Oh, look at the cleanse, look at the moves! Faker, what was that?
That's where this video comes in. The ultimate beginner's guide to League of Legends in 2023. Hopefully it's somewhere around here. If you know me, I don't typically make guides or content like this. However, it was heavily requested by regular viewers who wanted to watch and understand what was happening, or even wanted to try the game out themselves. So this isn't just any guide. This is Mr. Fruit's beginner guide to League of Legends in 2023. So let's get basic. Soap. Now, if we wanted to get acidic, battery acid. We can just get to the actual basics, not just bases and acids you have laying around your house that League players will eventually probably tell you to drink. League of Legends. Now, what in the heck is a MOBA? That's right, we're starting from ground zero because the hope is the next Explaining Like I'm 5 Reddit post asking what the heck League of Legends is can post an external link to this video and artificially boost the views. Because every random teammate I get matched with can't possibly be a real human. AKA League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, Smite, Paragon, which was Dedagon but now Bakugan, and the grandfather of them all, Dota. MOBA is a genre of games, meaning that all the ones that I just listed share the same basic gameplay concept. You have your map, which in League of Legends' case is Summoner's Rift, and this is your nexus. You don't want this to explode or else you lose. You do, however, want to destroy your enemy's nexus, because if you do, well, that's how you win the game. How do I put this in even simpler terms? Monkey have bananas. Rival monkeys also have own bananas. Me destroy rival monkey bananas, so that we may destabilize their primitive economical system, creating a power vacuum for banana supplies, where we may incite panic and civil war before supplanting ourselves among the fruitful throne to control these monkeys from. Now, I throw the term win around generously, because if you've ever played a hour-long fiesta of a League of Legends match, you know that at the end, there's no real winner. That's it. That's the game. Thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk. Now, the rest of this video, I'll be relating to it in terms of League of Legends, because that's what we're here to talk about. As far as other MOBAs, they all follow the same basic formula with some slight variations here and there. Except for Dota. I don't know, you chop down trees or something? There are 2 teams of 5 players in each game. Each player gets to control a different champion, which at this point, League has over 160 of them. Each champion comes with their own rich lore, abilities, and R34. FBI, open up! These 2 teams spawn on opposite sides of the map. In order to get to the enemy's nexus, they must destroy their way there. You actually have to work from the outside in, but it gets a little tricky. I'll explain more of that in a second. During a match, each player's champion starts at level 1. Throughout the match, you'll earn experience, gain gold, and learn how to slash mute all to live a happier and healthier life. Now, the max level in any one match of League of Legends is 18, but don't worry about that because you're probably going to forfeit before you even get close to hitting that. Alternatively, though, if you're in a match and everyone hits max level, Godspeed. Again, all of these specific to the champion you're playing. This combines to make the holy trinity, well, quaternity. Quaternity? No, that wasn't an insult. It's 2023. Come on now. Unless you're some animal that rebinds their ability keys, you have 3 primary abilities and 1 ultimate bound to Q, W, E, and R, respectively. You can't use an ability until you've learned it, and each ability gets stronger the more you level it up. Now, you can only unlock your ultimate at level 6, so how do you get XP? Well, by simply existing, albeit slowly. You mainly get experience from being near things that die, whether it be minions or champions. Note, enemy minions or champions. So no, you running back from spawn to just die over and over again, contrary to popular belief, does not help me. The other benefit of leveling up are base stats. Each level increases your base stats by a set amount, meaning that not only your ability is getting stronger, but you're getting stronger across all metrics. If you want to be good, you got to spend good. Now, no, I'm not talking about, whipping out that wallet and spreading it open. You can keep that tucked away, champ. Although, as we all know, skins do win games. There is no pay-to-win system in League of Legends, and skins are purely cosmetic. Now, you can only spend gold by gaining gold. Last hitting minions is your number one source of gold in a match, and we'll also be getting to that in a little bit. You also get it from killing champions, objectives, and passively getting some over time. Now, while you can access and look at the shop from anywhere, you can only purchase items from the shop while in the fountain. The fountain is just the name of the place you spawn at the beginning of the game and where you respawn every time. Each item gives you boosts to certain stats as well as activatable and passive abilities that you can only get from items. But see, now this is where the majority of the power comes from in-game. Because you see, you could be having the game of your life. You're 10-0. You're killing it, dude. But if you actually haven't used the gold you got from murdering those champions, you've actually gained nothing in the way of strength. Except for maybe, a little bit of XP. Now, not in the way of penis size? Oh, absolutely. A gold advantage is no advantage unless you spend it. That'll be $300. Thank you. You've probably heard the roles of MOBAs and League thrown around before, but never really knew how to make sense of them. With 5 players and 5 different champions on a team, you have 5 roles to match. Top, jungle, mid, AD carry, and support. All these roles fit within Summoner's Rift and within the 3 distinct lanes. Top, mid, and bottom. And yes, I'm actively fighting the urge to make sexual innuendos. Top is the lane located northmost. It's on the top of the map. It's also the farthest from things in relation to other lanes. This is why top laners are often referred to as being on an island. That's mainly because your top laner always gets tunnel visioned and forget there are things that exist that aren't top lane. And yet they remember to always ask for ganks. Top is one of the 2 lanes that during the laning phase oh my god, there's a lot to explain. Top lane meta usually consists of champions that skew towards tanks, bruisers, and fighters. Now, the whole metagame as to why certain champions go into certain lanes and why that is, I mean, that's beyond me too, and there's no way we're explaining that right now. Who am I kidding? You're just gonna look at a tier list and choose whoever is the highest. Or waifu. Or husbando? Mid lane. The most popular lane in League of Legends. Now, why is that? Now, that's probably because the selection of waifus in mid lane is unbeaten and also beaten. You know what I'm saying? Mid is located, and bear with me now, in the middle of the map. It's the only other solo lane and typically consists of mages, casters, and assassins. It's also the lane where you learn to fear every enemy mid laner because their version of the champion always seems to be better than the ones you get paired with on your team. Hold up, because this is going to blow your tits off. It's located at the bottom of Summoner's Rift. However, it is the only duo lane. Unless you're a brand new player, nobody knows how to jungle, so you have 2 top lanes. This means you and another player will be laning together, and those roles are AD carry, or ADC, and support. Now, what's the big difference in being a duo lane from a solo lane, aside from, having another player in lane? Well, it's the fact that you now split resources. Whenever a minion dies, the XP is split evenly between champions that are close enough to receive the XP. Gold received from last hitting only goes to the champion that got the last hit. Your job is the title, carry, which apparently, my bot lanes don't get the memo. They think it's ADD. Attack damage daddy. They're also weak early on. They're very similar to a human baby. You have to coddle and then hope they don't grow up to be a serial killer. Which is why they need a babysitter. Which leads me to our next role, babysitter support. You walk so others may run. You lane with your ADC so that they can safely farm without being harassed. But you also have to engage or disengage and create or manage pressure in order to make it safer for your AD carry to do whatever. Miss some last hits. You let them last hit all the minions because they need to be spoon-fed money. And the best part too is you're also in charge of lighting up the minimap like a Christmas tree with all your wards. Supports usually have more to offer in the way of utility than damage, unless you're Pyke. Or every autofilled support that wanted to go mid and is upset, so they're still just going to play their mid lane champion and pretend that they're the AP carry. Now, before we round out the roles, I should highlight vision. Now, League of Legends uses the popular game mechanic Fog of War, which pretty much just means anything outside of your immediate vision or your teammates' visions is invisible to you. I said visions, but whatever. Now, you see, the important thing is vision is shared team-wide, and you only get it from allied units. That could be turret, minions, champions, for wards. I like wards. We like wards. You like wards. So please, for the love of God, buy some and use the minimap. Every League player's greatest tool. But you see, the map by default is usually blacked out because you don't have vision. But you see, wards are items that players can buy and place on the map to give themselves and their team vision of the surrounding area. There are two types of wards, and I mean, like, technically there's more, but like, come on. You have stealth or totem wards and control wards. Stealth wards remain for X amount of time before expiring, destroying the ward and removing the vision. They're invisible to the enemy team, and the only way they can find them is through some other game mechanics. And wouldn't you know it, one of those game mechanics is the control ward. You can buy these, 75 gold. Did you know that? Did you know that? I don't think you yeah, you, right, my teammate, you didn't know that. Control wards last indefinitely until destroyed or replaced. Not only do they grant you vision in the surrounding area like stealth wards, they also block all vision from enemy stealth wards, revealing them, allowing you to destroy them. Now, these are visible to the enemy team. Just remember, every ward placed is a step closer to solving world hunger and makes it one step closer to banning Yumi in League of Legends. Lastly, we have jungle, my main, which is unlike anything else in the game and is akin to learning a game within a game. You don't have a lane. You're a roamer. You're a nomad. Okay, let's just be honest. You can't afford a house in this economy. So this is your home. You get your golden XP from jungle monsters instead of lane minions. You also use this time to look across the map and assess the game state. Now, ganking is a term used in MOBAs, well, in other games, but essentially what it means is your team decides to bring one or more players to something to create a player number advantage in hopes of gaining an advantage, whether it be a kill, disrupting your opponent, something like that. You want to gank not only to put your laner ahead, but also put their laner behind. All that just to get flamed. Junglers are also meant to help control neutral objectives such as Rift Herald, Baron, and Dragons. They take a summoner spell called Smite that lets them do fixed amount of damage to these neutral objectives to try and get the last hit on these minions to get the buffs or the gold or whatever it might be. Now, summoner spells, two things you take into a game, something and then flash, let's be honest. And while we're here, F is for flash. It's not the lash. It's flash. The neat part is that when anything goes wrong, the team blames you. Top laner died in a 1v1 in lane. Jungler's fault. Mid forgot to take flash. Jungler's fault. AD carry can't last hit for the life of them. Jungler's fault. Gas prices on the rise. Screw it. Screw it. Jungler's fault. Jungle's a curse, man. It's a curse. If you want to learn the game, I suggest not learning jungle first. Learn the game as a whole, then move into jungle, because it takes a lot of micro decisions and short time frames to decide what you need to do. AKA, what I'm saying is I have a huge penis and a huge brain. When I'm talking about bosses, I'm not talking about the raid boss Nasus your top lane created because he led a free farm to 1,000 Q stacks. I'm talking about the few we just mentioned: Rift Herald, Baron, and Dragon. Rift Herald is always located in the top river and disappears around the 20-minute mark when Baron spawns. Killing the Rift Herald drops the Eye of Sauron. With it, you can summon Shelly, which is the name of the Rift Herald, to help you try and take towers in lane. She'll dash to towers, do a certain fixed amount of damage, and will keep going until she dies. After 20 minutes, however, Mama shows up, aka Baron Nashor. Baron is hard to kill. If you don't believe me, feel free to try and solo Baron off spawn and have your execution pop up for the whole entire lobby to see, but not that that's ever happened to me. The team that kills Baron, regardless of how much damage they did up until the point of Baron's death, aka whoever gets the last hit, gets the Hand of Herald buff, or Baron checks notes. Hand of Baron buff. For a set amount of time, or until you die, friendly minions get jacked. They get stronger, they get healthier, they get bigger, they get faster. You also recall 50% quicker. Quick aside, backing is what you can do to get back to the fountain without having to physically travel there or, die and respawn. Because while in the fountain, you regain health and mana at a drastically improved speed. Baron Nashor, it's great at sieging and breaking through defenses of teams that are turtling, aka being little Then there's the Durgan. Before I get to explaining what and why don't we take a second to do a posture check. Maybe grab a drink of water. Or perhaps subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future uploads. All right, this is a doozy. Elemental drakes, or dragons, spawn in a random order every match. And depending on the element of the dragon, grant different team-wide stacking buffs. The first dragon will be randomly selected between the Chemtech, Cloud, Hextech, Infernal, Mountain, and Ocean Drake. The second dragon of the game will be randomly pulled from the remaining unused elemental dragons. Then, after killing the second dragon, the third dragon and all remaining elemental dragons in that match will be pulled again randomly from the still unused elemental dragons. Now, once a team has killed 4 elemental dragons, from then on, the next dragon spawns will be Elder Dragon and only Elder Dragon. But before we get to Elder Dragon, let me break down the whole 4 elemental killing business. Each Drake gives a specific buff upon killing it. Cloud makes you move quicker, Infernal gives you more damage, etc. There's also the Dragon Soul. The Dragon Soul is determined by whatever the third elemental dragon of that game is. The third elemental dragon is determined, and Summoner's Rift actually changes in accordance to whatever the new soul is. For instance, Ocean Soul means all elemental dragons starting from the third onward will be Ocean Drake, and Summoner's Rift will spawn more bushes and I think some a little bit of terrain or something. I don't know. There's more pools of water, which like matters to Kiana. But you see, that's just the oceans thing. Infernal actually takes away some bushes and terrain. Hextech adds warp gates. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So getting the 4th dragon stack, regardless of which elementals you got up until that point, will grant you that elemental soul. Only 1 soul can be claimed per game because no team can get 4 elemental dragons, because again, once the 4th drake is gone and the soul is claimed, the rest of the dragons are Elder Dragon. Each soul gives a pretty powerful team-wide buff. In the case of Ocean Soul, every time you damage something, you immediately regain some health and mana regen and start both. It's good. They're all pretty good. Except Cloud. I feel like that one's the one that's dogged on the most. Also, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where to put a joke in here. It's just walls. It's walls of text. So like rawr. I'm a dragon. I don't know. Finally, we have the Elder Dragon. Elder Dragon is sick nasty and hard to kill. And if you get it, you get the Elder buff. Not only that, but all of your previous dragon buffs are amplified while you have it. And you just poop on enemies. It's the team fight buff. You do explosive damage after X amount of hits or whatever, and then you just Thanos snap them with a health % execute. In order to get to the Nexus, you have to destroy the 2 Nexus turrets. But to access the 2 Nexus turrets, you have to destroy the inhibitor. To destroy the inhibitor, you have to destroy the tier 3 turret, which is only available after you destroy the tier 2 turret, which is only available after you destroy the tier 1 turret. And this is all per lane basis. So if you destroy all the mid ones, top and bot are still vibing. But inhibitors, unlike towers, respawn after a set duration. So if an inhibitor respawns and there are no other destroyed inhibitors and you're hitting the Nexus can no longer be damaged. You got to go back and destroy the inhibitor. In recent years, there was also the addition of turret plating. Turret plating creates segmented HP bars, it's like 4 or 5 of them, that disappear after 14 minutes, or you've killed the tier 1 tower. Each destroyed segment while the plates are up actually give bonus gold, but as you get further into the segments of turret plating, they get harder to kill. Next up, bots. And I ain't talking about my ranked teammates. What's so important about minions? They spawn just to die, and they die a lot, to boost our fragile champions' egos and sacrifice themselves to the turret gods. Now, if you thought we were done talking about turrets, think again. Turrets, as it turns out, don't like it when you try to destroy them. So whenever you're in range of a turret attack, you get slapped in the mouth. The first shot's just a love tap, but each subsequent turret shot hurts more and more, and oh Lord, does she hurt. Being the gracious and bountiful champions we are, we allow our minions to play Mr. President while we whack away at the turrets. Here's a quick little guide. If a turret enters minion range first, you're good. If a champion enters turret range first, you're not good. Now, if you're vibing within turret's aggro, but you hit an enemy champion, also no good. So be vigilant and let your minions do what they do best. Dying needless deaths, because what's one more corpse upon a pile of billions and billions? And that's not all, folks. Unlike an infomercial, I'm not here to give you a better deal. I'm here to overload you with some more information. Did I mention minions love dying? Because whether they're giving their lives to the turret gods or champions, they're fulfilling their greater purpose. If you get the kill on a minion, or last hit it as it's referred to, you get a payout. Now, you might be asking yourself, who's the one putting bounties out on these minions who are all but destined to die? That's a great question. Yeah, I don't know. The only thing that's clear to me is that they love to lose money just as much as Elon. This is also where the term CS comes from. CS stands for creep score. It's a number that reflects how many times you've last hitted minions, aka higher CS number, more gold. That's right, everybody's tough until a super minion shows up. Yeah! There's layers upon layers to this stuff. If an inhibitor is destroyed in that corresponding lane, super minions will now start spawning for the team that destroyed the inhibitor. This only persists while the inhibitor is respawning. More damage, more health, more resistances. If left unchecked, they can actually wreck a base. Now, if you get all 3 inhibitors down at the same time, you spawn 2 super minions per lane while there's 3 inhibitors down. There's also phases to a league match. The first phase is the one most commonly known and referred to as the laning phase, or early game. For some league players, this may come as a shock.
You're telling me it's the point where the laning phase is supposed to end?
Then you have the mid and the late game. There's not really any terms to describe those. I guess if I had to, mid-game would be Fiesta phase, and in-game would be Copium phase. Why? Mid-game is where you see teams starting to group and team fight, and it can devolve really quickly into team deathmatch, depending on the elo. Late game, however, is what every team who's losing tries to cling on to with hope.
Hey guys, Turtle, we scale. We'll win the late game.
Heard that before? Because God knows I have. A lot of the time, it's me. I'm the one that says it. Now, once you've destroyed their nexus, congratulations, you've won your first League of Legends match. Or understood why somebody won a League of Legends match. I think that's like a lot of the nuances you need to know just to be able to understand League of Legends if you were to watch. There are seemingly a never-ending amount of micro topics, but those are way more specific. This is more of a macro look at League of Legends, and I hope you learned something, or more importantly, chuckled once or twice. That'll be me signing out. And now, hopefully, with my next League of Legends upload, you can Leonardo DiCaprio meme it and be like,
I get it.